Welcome everyone to the deep dive. Today we're embarking on, well, a really profound journey. It's a story that truly resonates across time. We're delving into Władysław Szpilman's powerful memoir, The Pianist, and also its incredible cinematic adaptation by Roman Polanski. And this isn't just a historical account, right? It's a raw, unflinching look at one man's unimaginable struggle during World War II, set right there in the heart of Warsaw. So our mission in this deep dive is to unpack not just the harrowing events, but the profound human experience, the sheer unyielding resilience depicted. We want to extract those critical insights from the source material. We're going to be exploring themes of profound loss, the unexpected power of music, the sheer will to survive, and those truly surprising moments of humanity that, well, they seem to shine brightest in the absolute darkest of times. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's so striking about The Pianist is how Władysław Szpilman, who was this incredibly gifted Jewish pianist in Warsaw, becomes this singular lens, the lens through which we experience the onset and the brutal reality of World War II. The film's approach, which mirrors Szpilman's memoir very closely, is absolutely crucial to understanding its impact. It deliberately avoids sensationalizing the violence. Instead, it focuses so intently on the psychological toll, the quiet, almost invisible endurance of this one individual. It sort of strips away those grand, sweeping narratives of war we sometimes see, and it shows its devastating, granular impact on a single life. Both Szpilman's personal account and the film adaptation stand as this powerful testament, not just to a specific horrific historical period, but really to the enduring, almost unbelievable strength of the human spirit when it's pushed to its absolute limits.
And it all starts with such a poignant contrast, doesn't it? Just that feeling of the world as it was, and then suddenly everything just changes.
Everything changes abruptly.
So let's cast our minds back. Let's go to 1939 Warsaw. What was life like for Władysław Szpilman before it all came crashing down? The opening scene of the film, The Pianist, it's just etched into my memory. I mean, it's 1939, and we see Władysław Szpilman played so incredibly by Adrian Brody in the Polish radio studio. He's at the piano, his fingers just, dancing across the keys. He's performing a live broadcast, and the music fills the air at Chopin, this beautiful, delicate nocturne that speaks of a cultured, vibrant life of peace, of normalcy. You really get a sense of the elegance and the intellectual vitality of pre-war Warsaw. His family's there, his parents, two sisters, a brother, all living this seemingly secure middle-class existence, pursuing their arts, their lives, enjoying that simple comfort of being together. And then just as he hits those final lingering notes, the German bombs start falling. It's immediate, jarring, a brutal interruption of everything that was. One moment you have the transcendent beauty of music, and the next, the deafening, earth-shattering roar of war. The fragility of it all is just stunning.
That initial normalcy is absolutely critical because it's more than just setup. It's a chilling demonstration of the fragility of civilization itself. It really forces you, to confront how quickly the assumptions of stability, our daily routines, our trust in institutions, even our sense of identity and place can just shatter into a million pieces. Szpilman's pre-war life, depicted so richly with the music, the family bonds, the cultural pursuits, it serves as this stark reminder that peace isn't just the absence of conflict. It's a delicate, intricate construct, and it's so easily demolished by, well, unchecked ideological forces and a swift, brutal invasion.
Yeah, that belief they had initially that the war will end quickly.
Right. It isn't merely naive, though you might think so at first. It reflects a really common societal denial, a kind of optimistic disbelief when faced with escalating conflict. People often cling desperately to the familiar, right, expecting disruptions to be temporary, especially when they just cannot fathom the true existential scale of the horror that's approaching them.
They just couldn't imagine it.
Exactly. So this moment, the very first bombs falling on Warsaw, it isn't just the beginning of World War II in Poland. It's the abrupt, violent end of an entire way of life, a complete societal collapse for millions. It's just a chilling reminder that the foundations we build our lives on are far more tenuous than we often realize.
And what follows then is this absolutely unrelenting descent. It's not just one blow, it's this systematic creeping suffocation for the Jewish community, a methodical dismantling of their rights, their lives, their humanity. How quickly did conditions really deteriorate for Jews in Warsaw?
It was indeed systematic, a dismantling implemented with chilling precision. Each new decree just tightened the noose, making existence more and more untenable. The Nazi regime's anti-Jewish laws were introduced incrementally, deliberately designed to dehumanize and isolate. The first big public marker was the forced wearing of armbands with the Star of David.
Just imagine that. One day you're just a citizen.
Exactly. One day you're simply a citizen of Warsaw, indistinguishable on the street. The next day, you're visually marked, segregated, a walking target. And this wasn't just a piece of cloth, you know. It was a visible symbol of discrimination, a branding that immediately set individuals apart, paving the way for further, more aggressive persecution.
Yeah.
The psychological impact of that kind of public shaming, that constant awareness of being marked, you just can't overstate it.
And it didn't stop there, right? It went way beyond just the armbands. They were steadily stripped of, well, everything. Fundamental rights, their ability to earn a living just to sustain themselves.
Precisely. After the armbands came this relentless series of bans, chipping away at every single aspect of Jewish life. They were systematically banned from certain public areas, parks, main streets, even specific sidewalks, you know, called the cording them off. Banned from schools, which instantly ended educational opportunities for a whole generation, just cutting off their future. Their ability to work, to earn a living, was systematically dismantled. Banned from various professions, public sector jobs, even owning businesses.
The economic impact must have been immediate, devastating.
Immediate and devastating. Their money, their property, confiscated, often through arbitrary, violent seizures, leaving families just destitute, vulnerable, teetering on the brink of starvation. This wasn't just about control, it was economic strangulation. Total societal ostracization, forcing an entire community to the margins, making them dependent, helpless. The systematic nature of these laws, it wasn't just physical oppression. It was designed to break the human spirit, to make people feel less than human.
People who were professionals.
Exactly. Lawyers, doctors, musicians, respected merchants, now reduced to a single marked status, defined solely by their ethnicity, not their individuality or their contributions. This was the psychological groundwork for the horrors still to come.
It's interesting, though, you mentioned musicians. C. Wellman keeps playing, doesn't he? Even with all this happening. He finds ways to perform in these cafes that now only cater to Jews. It feels like this small, almost desperate act of defiance, a way to hold on to something when everything else is being stripped away.
It absolutely is. And that act, continuing to play music in the ghetto, even in increasingly restricted, degrading spaces, it connects directly to that profound theme of music as a lifeline. It's desperate, yes, but it's also incredibly powerful. An attempt to maintain humanity, to hold on to a sense of self, of connection, in an environment that's explicitly designed to strip all that away. Beyond just providing solace, music in the ghetto became this radical act of presence, of defiant humanity.
A way of saying we're still here.
Precisely. In a world designed to erase Jewish identity, to dehumanize and silence an entire people, every note played, every melody performed, even in private, even for a dwindling audience, was a defiant assertion. We are still here, we still feel, we still create, we still are.
Sure.
It was a refusal to be reduced to mere statistics or a persecuted group. A way for Szpilman and for his listeners to reclaim some agency, to maintain their souls through art. For Szpilman, it was his identity, right? His profession, his profound solace. And it became a communal anchor, too. A brief, precious respite from the ever-present fear, hunger, degradation. It's really a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, that even under such crushing conditions, art found a way to persist, offering a flicker of hope, a shared moment of beauty, or maybe just a connection to the world that once was.
And then the walls went up. The forced relocation into the Warsaw Ghetto. From what we see in the film and what's in the memoir, it was a truly horrifying place. Far more than just a walled-off section of the city.
Oh, indeed. The Warsaw Ghetto wasn't just walled off. It was a sealed prison, a vast human warehouse designed for slow extermination through deprivation and neglect. The film does a harrowing job painting this vivid picture. It's incredibly overcrowded, multiple families crammed into single, often squalid rooms, sometimes dozens of people sharing one dwelling. Hunger is rampant, a constant gnawing presence. You see people visibly emaciated, their bodies wasting away, leading to widespread starvation and rampant deadly diseases like typhus sweeping through because there's no sanitation, no medical care.
Just unimaginable conditions.
Poverty is absolute. Families selling off their last meager possessions just for a morsel of bread. The sheer scale of human suffering within those walls is almost incomprehensible. A daily struggle for the most basic existence.
And the film, it doesn't shy away from showing the escalating brutality either. There's that one scene, it's just seared into my memory. SS officers throwing an old man in a wheelchair off a balcony because he couldn't stand up. It's just pure arbitrary cruelty.
That scene is a stark, unbearable illustration of the sheer inhumanity depicted throughout the film and the memoir. It's not just some random act of sadism. It's a deliberate, chilling display of power, designed to shatter any remaining illusion of order or justice or human dignity.
Right, making a point.
Exactly. The old man, confined to a wheelchair, unable to comply with this absurd, impossible demand to stand, is brutally murdered for a perceived infraction. It's a moment that just rips away any pretense of civilization. It reveals the true nature of the regime's sadism and its complete disregard for human life. It signifies that life, for Jews in the ghetto, held absolutely no value in the eyes of their oppressors, that their very existence was an ongoing provocation to be met with violence. And this raises an important question. What does such an environment do to the human spirit day after day?
How do you even cope?
Witnessing such daily humiliation, random acts of brutality, the constant threat of violence, it corrodes the spirit. It breeds this profound sense of helplessness. It forces people to confront the very limits of human endurance. It's not just a physical toll, it's a deep psychological wounding that reshapes your perception of the world, your place in it. The ghetto was a place of total control, where life was cheap and death was commonplace, whether from starvation, disease, or just arbitrary murder.
The ultimate horror then starts to unfold, doesn't it? 1942, the Grossaktion Warsaw. This isn't just about putting people in a ghetto anymore. This is mass deportation, systematic annihilation. It's chilling just to say the words. Szpilman and his family, they're rounded up with thousands of others, taken to this place called the Umschlagplatz. That was the grim assembly point, right?
Yes, the Umschlagplatz. Thousands of people packed together just waiting for those trains.
And the crushing reality, of course, is that those trains led directly to Treblinka extermination camp.
The Grossaktion Warsaw represents a critical phase of what the Nazis called Action Reinhard, their systematic plan to murder all Jews in German-occupied Poland. It was the peak of the Nazi machinery of death, a process of annihilation implemented with terrifying efficiency. The Umschlagplatz, which translates to reloading point, became this symbol of ultimate despair, a vast open-air holding pen where entire families were processed. The historical weight of this moment is immense. It's where any illusion of resettlement or work camps was just brutally shattered for those who understood or suspected the true, horrifying destination.
The scale is just staggering.
The film, in Szpilman's memoir, conveys the sheer incomprehensible scale. Tens, hundreds of thousands of people funneled into cattle cars, packed so tightly there was no room to move, destined for Treblinka. And Treblinka was one of 3 primary extermination camps, built specifically for mass murder, not just detention or forced labor, designed for rapid industrial-scale killing. This systematic efficiency in executing genocide is terrifying. It highlights the cold, calculated nature of the regime. It embodies that theme of loss and isolation in its most agonizing form. Families weren't just displaced. They were irrevocably separated, almost always leading to their complete destruction. The silence of the Umschlagplatz, broken only by cries and the rumbling trains. It's truly deafening.
But then right there, in this moment of absolute horrifying finality, Szpilman's pulled away. At the very last moment. It's
Sure.
such a cruel twist of fate, really. But it saves his life while condemning his entire family.
It is a truly heart-wrenching moment, and it defines the rest of Szpilman's journey. He's surrounded by his family, moments away from being forced onto that train, the train to their deaths, and then a friend, a man named Itzhak Heller from the Jewish ghetto police, recognizes him and just pulls him out of line.
An act of kindness, almost random, amidst all that cruelty.
Profoundly arbitrary kindness amidst unimaginable cruelty. But the immediate aftermath, it's brutal, an agonizing reality. His entire family, parents, sisters, brother, taken away and murdered. He's spared, plucked from the jaws of death, but at what immeasurable cost? The sheer randomness of survival is a critical, harrowing point the film makes. Why him? Why not them?
Unanswerable questions.
Exactly. The profound, absolute loss of his family is one of the most painful depictions in the entire film. It's a moment that leaves you breathless, questioning the very nature of chance, of destiny, and the overwhelming burden placed on those left behind.
And the weight of that survival, it must have been crushing, just an almost unbearable burden for anyone to carry.
Oh, the psychological burden of being the sole survivor, of carrying that knowledge, is truly immense. This is where survivor's guilt really, really sets in, just gnawing at the soul. It fundamentally defines his subsequent journey. It shifts his focus from a shared family struggle to this solitary existence, grappling with that agonizing question of survival versus resistance. He's no longer part of a collective struggle. He's an individual ghost, haunted by the absence of his loved ones, isolated in a way few of us can truly comprehend.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this moment isn't just about escape. It's about the genesis of a new, solitary form of survival, where every breath is a reminder of those who couldn't breathe anymore. And life itself becomes this stark, lonely testament to what was lost. He transforms into, as the memoir puts it, a ghost of a man, physically present but spiritually fractured.
So he's alone. He's this fugitive now, alone in his own city, a city that's just crumbling around him, reduced to rubble. He hides in abandoned buildings, sneaking through shadows, constantly scavenging for food, battling starvation, dehydration, narrowly escaping capture. You see this once confident, celebrated artist just reduced to trying to survive the next hour, the next day. But he's not entirely alone, is he? He does get help, which seems remarkable in such a hostile environment.
No, he's not entirely alone, and that's a crucial aspect of his survival, and a powerful testament to human goodness, really. He receives intermittent but truly life-saving help from non-Jewish friends and members of the Polish resistance. These moments of unexpected kindness are profound because they represent individuals risking their own lives under unimaginable circumstances to provide him with shelter, maybe some meager food, or just a moment of respite from the constant terror.
Incredible risk.
Absolutely. These acts underscore that inherent human capacity for goodness, for altruism, that can persist even in the face of widespread systemic evil. It shows that compassion is possible even when it carries the ultimate risk. However, his existence is largely one of desperate passive survival, which the film presents as a form of heroism in itself. He isn't fighting on the front lines, he isn't leading a resistance movement, he's enduring simply by refusing to die.
Just staying alive is the resistance.
In his case, yes. His physical and mental degradation is stark, harrowing. The once refined, elegant pianist becomes gaunt, filthy, covered in sores, constantly racked by hunger, thirst, overwhelming fear. This extreme state highlights that almost animalistic drive to survive when you're stripped of everything else: dignity, comfort, safety, identity. The harrowing depiction of human endurance against complete desolation, where every day is a battle just to draw another breath. He had to be constantly vigilant, constantly moving, always wary of betrayers or those who'd turn him in for a reward. His internal monologue must have been this constant symphony of fear, hunger, loneliness, punctuated by fleeting memories of a life that seemed impossibly distant.
And while he's in hiding, he becomes this silent observer to these grand, tragic events unfolding around him. From his hiding spots, he watches two major uprisings in Warsaw, both brutally suppressed. It must have been psychologically devastating, witnessing so much destruction and defiance from the sidelines, unable to do anything.
Yes, his forced role as a powerless observer is incredibly powerful, and it contributes immensely to the psychological toll he endures. First, in 1943, from a window in his hiding place, he watches the Warsaw Ghetto uprising. He sees desperate Jewish fighters, armed with minimal resources, often just pistols, homemade Molotov cocktails, rising up against their overwhelmingly superior Nazi oppressors. It's an act of immense, almost suicidal courage and defiance, born of pure desperation. But tragically, the rebellion is crushed with overwhelming force, and the ghetto itself, the very place where his family was last held, is systematically burned to the ground, building by building, reduced to ashes.
He watches the place his family was disappear.
He witnesses the complete, fiery obliteration of the physical manifestation of his family's last existence, a sight that must have seared itself into his memory as a final, agonizing farewell.
And then just a year later, the city itself becomes the battlefield again, this time on an even larger, more devastating scale.
Precisely. In 1944, he witnesses the broader Warsaw Uprising. Polish resistance fighters, including many non-Jewish Poles, bravely rebel against the Nazis. Again, immense courage, profound sacrifice, but the odds are overwhelmingly stacked against them. And the devastating consequence is the systematic destruction of Warsaw itself. The city, once a vibrant cultural hub, a proud capital, is methodically reduced to unimaginable rubble. The civilian population is either massacred, caught in the crossfire, or forcibly evacuated. Their homes, their lives destroyed.
And Supplement is just watching.
Exactly. Hidden, sick, weak, malnourished. A ghost amidst the ruins, powerless to intervene, yet intimately connected to every scream, every explosion, every crumbling wall. He's not just witnessing history, he's trapped within its brutal, destructive machinery. This horrifying transformation from bustling metropolis to devastated wasteland profoundly illustrates the fragility of civilization, shows how easily a complex urban society can be annihilated, its culture and population decimated by unchecked war. What's fascinating here is how Szpilman's journey highlights that survival itself, his quiet refusal to die, can be a profound act of resistance. Even when you're not on the front lines, his very existence becomes a defiant statement against the forces seeking to erase him and his people.
Which brings us to, well, arguably one of the most powerful and unexpected moments in the entire film, a real turning point. Szpilman is at his absolute lowest, starving, almost feral, hiding in a ruined villa that just happens to contain a piano. And then he's discovered. Not by a friend, not by a Polish rescuer, but by a German Wehrmacht officer, Captain Wilhelm Hosenfeld. It's incredibly tense, terrifying. You expect the worst.
It is the ultimate confrontation, isn't it? The hunter and the hunted, poised on a knife's edge between life and death. Spillman, barely recognizable as human covered in dirt, rags, beard, utterly vulnerable, at the mercy of his discoverer. And Hosenfeld, in his crisp Wehrmacht uniform, armed, representing the very force that destroyed Spillman's life, his family, his city.
You just hold your breath.
You do. The expectation for Spillman and for us is immediate execution. But instead of killing him, Hosenfeld asks him to play. This powerful contrast creates this element of unexpected connection, a moment that completely subverts expectations and highlights the almost miraculous possibility of individual morality, even within a monstrous, dehumanizing system. The tension is almost unbearable. Is this the end or something else entirely? Hosenfeld's choice not to kill, but to acknowledge Spillman's humanity through his music. It's truly extraordinary. It forces us to pause and consider the individual choices made in times of profound evil.
And what Spillman plays is Chopin's Ballade in G minor. He's trembling, he's filthy, playing on this battered piano, but the music itself, it's just raw beauty amidst utter chaos. It's a moment where music truly becomes survival, a bridge between two seemingly irreconcilable worlds.
This scene perfectly encapsulates the music as a lifeline theme, and it profoundly highlights those moments of unexpected kindness. Spillman's performance isn't just a display of talent, it's an outpouring of his very soul, a desperate plea for recognition, for life. His fingers, stiff with cold and hunger, they initially falter. But as the music takes over, it's as if his entire being pours into the notes. The music transcends nationality, transcends the war, the uniforms, the ruins. It reaches something shared and deeply human in Hosenfeld, who is visibly moved by the performance.
Chopin, a Polish composer, played by a Jewish Pole for a German officer.
Exactly. It's a profound cultural exchange in the most unlikely perilous circumstances. Hosenfeld's reaction, being visibly moved, that's the key. His subsequent actions are radical acts of empathy in a dehumanizing war. He brings Spillman food, a warm coat for the harsh winter, promises to keep his location secret, even visits him regularly until the Germans have to retreat. These aren't small favors. These are acts risking his own life, defying the ideology he nominally serves.
So what does this all mean when we talk about humanity? What does this extraordinary encounter truly reveal?
Well, this scene profoundly challenges our assumptions about who is capable of compassion, even in the darkest times. Hosenfeld isn't portrayed as a good Nazi in some simplistic way, right? He's a complex individual making a moral choice that flies directly in the face of his military systematic evil. It implies that even within a regime built on hatred and dehumanization, individual morality can surface. Glimmers of conscience can break through. It forces us to consider the implications of individual action against the backdrop of systemic evil. Does one act of kindness absolve someone of their association with a monstrous system? Or does it complicate our understanding of humanity's capacity for both immense good and unimaginable evil?
It's complicated.
Very. It's a powerful glimmer of light that, while it doesn't negate the immense atrocities of the Holocaust, it offers a sliver of hope for our human capacity for empathy. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this scene isn't just an isolated act of kindness. It's a testament to the idea that even when society collapses into barbarism, the individual human heart can still retain its capacity for compassion and connection. Often through the universal language of art, it's about finding that shared humanity in the most unlikely places, the most desperate circumstances.
The war finally ends. The Soviet Red Army arrives in 1945, liberating Warsaw. But even then, Spillman's life is still precarious. He's barely alive, and in this truly cruel twist, he's mistakenly shot at by Soviet soldiers. They don't recognize him as Polish, mistaking his appearance for a German officer.
Yeah, his ragged state, the coat Hosenfeld gave him.
Right. It's only when they hear his name, Spillman, the famous pianist, that they recognize him and take him to safety. It feels like even liberation comes with its own dangers, its own final, terrifying hurdles.
It's a stark portrayal of that complex, often messy reality of liberation. The immediate danger doesn't just vanish when the oppressors are defeated. The chaos of war's end, the lingering suspicion, the breakdown of normal identification. It means even the liberators can pose a threat. For Spillman, it's a final, almost ironic moment of peril before safety is found. And the fact that he's recognized not by appearance, but as the famous pianist, that's profoundly symbolic. In his weakened, almost unrecognizable state, his identity as an artist, as a cultured human being who contributed beauty to the world, That's what ultimately saves him.
His identity saves him.
It marks that crucial transition from pure animalistic survival mode back to a semblance of normal life, where his past achievements, his identity are once again recognized and valued. It's a powerful return to who he was, even before he's fully returned to himself physically and emotionally. The name, the memory of his art, literally saves his life, demonstrating the enduring power of his true identity.
And then the film culminates with his return to the stage. It's such a powerful full circle moment, brings the narrative to a truly poignant close.
The final scene, Szpilman performing Chopin's Grand Polonaise Brillante to a full concert hall. It's the ultimate manifestation of that music as a lifeline theme, now fully realized. It's a quiet, dignified triumph. The film began with him playing for Polish radio, his world intact. It ends with him back in that space, or a similar one, once again surrounded by people and music. No longer a solitary fugitive, but a re-emerged artist.
It's beautiful.
This public performance isn't just a concert, it's a celebration of life reclaimed, a profound act of healing, reconnection. It's a dignified reassertion of humanity and culture after unimaginable loss and devastation. The music, which was his solace in silence, his secret comfort in the ghetto, his unlikely bridge to Hosenfeld. Now it serves as the declaration of his survival, his resilience, and the enduring power of art to heal, to connect, to remind us of our shared humanity. It's a profound statement that even after the systematic attempt to erase culture and individual identity, the spirit of both can rise again, stronger for having endured. The applause isn't just for his performance, it's for his survival, his very existence, the triumph of the human spirit.
But the film doesn't end without acknowledging Captain Hosenfeld's fate, does it? The credits reveal he was captured by the Soviets, died in a prison camp in 1952. Despite Szpilman's efforts to secure his release, which failed. It's a bittersweet epilogue. Adds another layer of complexity.
It truly is bittersweet, and it offers a final, sobering reflection on those moments of unexpected kindness and the broader complexities of war and its aftermath. Hosenfeld's compassion was a radical act, right? A beacon of light in overwhelming darkness. But it didn't guarantee his own survival or freedom. His death in a Soviet prison camp highlights that not all acts of kindness are rewarded, or even fully known and acknowledged by history, particularly in the chaotic, vengeful aftermath of global conflict.
It's tragic, really.
It underscores the tragic irony that a man who saved a life was himself not saved, caught in the indiscriminate gears of post-war justice or retribution. This outcome complicates any simplistic narrative of good versus evil. It shows that even individuals who perform acts of profound human decency can be caught in the merciless, ongoing gears of history. It reminds us that justice isn't always served neatly, and that even the most compassionate actions might not alter one's ultimate fate when caught in the maelstrom of war and its consequences. It leaves us with this lingering question about individual responsibility versus systemic evil and the long shadows cast by immense global conflicts.
This story, as we've just unpacked it, it's incredibly rich with themes. When we look at the source material, the memoir, the film, what are the core takeaways that you think truly define Szpilman's journey and hold lasting relevance for us today?
Well, the primary themes are deeply interwoven, aren't they? They create this profound tapestry of human experience under extreme duress. First, there's survival versus resistance. Szpilman isn't a fighter in the conventional sense. He doesn't join the resistance with a weapon. He chooses this quiet, almost invisible path. His survival is cautious, passive, deeply solitary.
But it is resistance.
Exactly. His very act of existing, of clinging to life with every fiber of his being, becomes a profound act of defiance against a regime designed for extermination. His heroism lies not in armed combat, but in sheer endurance. In his quiet, dignified refusal to be erased. It makes us question what forms heroism can take. Then there's loss and isolation. The film is just a painful depiction of profound, systematic loss, the stripping away of his family, home, identity, the cultural richness of his pre-war life. His isolation becomes almost absolute, turning him into a solitary witness, a ghost haunting the ruins. This theme resonates with a universal fear of losing everything that defines us.
And the music.
Music as a lifeline, undeniably central. Even when he can't physically play, the memory of music, his internal melodies, become this potent symbol of his humanity, a crucial source of strength. It connects him to his past, his core identity, and ultimately to Hosenfeld, transcending barriers. It highlights how art can be a powerful anchor for the soul, a form of spiritual resistance. Then, the visuals, the fragility of civilization, the stunning transformation of Warsaw, from elegant city to unimaginable rubble. It's a powerful, visceral reminder of how quickly societal order and physical structures can collapse under the weight of conflict. It prompts us to consider the delicate foundations of our own societies.
And finally, those moments of kindness.
Moments of unexpected kindness, yes. Amidst the pervasive cruelty, the scattered acts of compassion, especially Hosenfeld's, they just shine brighter than almost anything else. They offer rare, precious glimpses of hope, underscore the enduring human capacity for empathy, even the most dehumanizing environments. These moments remind us that individual choices can matter profoundly, even if they don't change the overall course of history.
Okay, let's unpack this. What can we truly take away from these powerful intertwined themes when we think about what it means to be human?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, The Pianist isn't just a film. It's a profound meditation on the enduring capacity of the human spirit to find solace, even beauty, amidst utter desolation. Roman Polanski's direction is masterful because it's so deeply emotional yet visually restrained. It avoids sensationalizing the violence, choosing instead to focus on the psychological toll through this intimate, almost claustrophobic perspective of one man. And Adrian Brody's performance, rightly earning him that Academy Award, is haunting, incredibly intimate. He conveys the horror, the numbness that follows, and that fragile, flickering hope that allows Spillman to persist through sheer will.
The awards were well deserved.
Absolutely. The numerous accolades, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Adapted Screenplay, the Palme d'Or again, they're a testament to its profound impact and artistic achievement. It stands not merely as a historical account, but as a deeply human story of endurance, dignity, and the quiet resilience of the spirit in the face of absolute destruction. It leaves an indelible mark, reminding us of the fragility of peace and the enduring power of humanity to reclaim its voice.
What a journey we've taken through Władysław Szpilman's story today. From that vibrant musical life of pre-war Warsaw to the harrowing depths of the ghetto, through the profound isolation of being a fugitive in a ruined city, and finally to that incredible, unexpected moment of connection with Captain Hosenfeld. Szpilman's story is just a profound testament to survival against unimaginable odds. This deep dive into his experience, hopefully, offers you a shortcut to understanding the depth of the Holocaust's impact, not through statistics, but through the intensely personal, visceral lens of one man's struggle and quiet triumph. It's a story that reminds us of the profound power of human connection, the surprising places humanity can emerge from, and the almost unbelievable strength of the human spirit.
And it really encourages us to consider how, even in the most extreme circumstances, an individual's quiet dignity and unwavering passion can serve as a profound form of resistance against dehumanization. Spillman didn't fight with a gun, but he fought by enduring, by remembering, and by ultimately returning to his art, his true self. His story challenges us, perhaps, to ask ourselves, what does it mean for you to find beauty and purpose when everything around you seems to be crumbling? What is the core of your own resilience? And how might your quiet dedication to what truly matters to you serve as a powerful form of defiance against the challenges you face, even when direct confrontation seems impossible? His story serves as a powerful reminder that even when all seems lost, the human spirit, driven by its unique passions, can find a way to persist, to remember, and ultimately to reclaim its voice.